to the bold analysis. Do you think it is about Raila is back or William Samoei Ruto has failed the test of time? I think immediately after the last general election, there was a there's that general understanding that Raila needed to give them time to do. But of course, there was a bit of that provocation on U-turns on a couple of policies that President Uhuru Kenyatta did. But of course, William Ruto was fashioning his government to what was his taste. But it seems things overstretched and people saw skewed appointments here and there. But that was bringing something analyzed in this channel called cumulative damage. And what we are actually going through now is a product of cumulative damage. Far from it. Today, I saw UDA leadership calling for arrest of Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta and over their prime role for the mass action. And UDA is the ruling coalition, or rather is the ruling party, and I was asking, who are they telling? Who is then, if they are the people that are in power, they have all the resources, they know where both Uhuru and Raila spends their day and every time, everywhere they are. Who is this person to arrest Raila? So, is it the public to go and arrest Raila? And then do you really mean it, or you're just giving a statement for the public to consume, not for your own action? And I've always said that the problem we have so far is about more talking but less action. For a while, just put things into action. And it was interesting to see Cecil Mbarire, who is UDA governor there, standing to defend the government, while governors don't have money. They have not been given the county allocation. It is just about time they'll start asking for it. On the flip side, 38 protesters were arrested by the police and released on police bond since there was nothing to charge them about. I'm just back remaining on the Uhuru point. I'm wondering how Uhuru is coming in with the charge. Probably Raila has been doing messaging. You can excuse him from that. But I don't see tangible evidence on how Uhuru is coming in. And if you asked the media and everyone else to give you evidence on who was on Matiang'i's compound, will it be an overstatement to say that those who are also talking about arrest and prosecution of former President Uhuru Kenyatta should also give us evidence on how he sponsored the Azimio rallies? The government has all the intelligence, they have everything, they can intercept everything, every move, and so they should expose to the country how Uhuru Kenyatta came in. Otherwise, hot air. And to some extent, there is something I'm just realizing. I wanted to refer to this photo. This photo was taken somewhere in Mathare, along Mathare, I think around Mathare area. This was an hour after Raila was blocked from accessing the CBD, where he was supposed to meet the other Azimio leaders, and even protesters were not in town. They had been repassed from the KCC. This is where the problem is. It is these people. They came out, of course, not coming out of their homes, of their houses, but they're staring, looking at what was happening down. This is where the problem is. The problem is not on the big names we are talking about, but totally we have refused to pay attention to the fact that that is where the problem is. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our video. Thank you very much for your support. Let me tell you a short story. Yesterday I was told And I was talking to one person who really attended that protest, and was telling me around Mathare, ilifika mahali, just moments, leave alone the place where police were, there was a police cannon, the cannon, the tractor, the water cannon, behind, one in front, protesters or rather the residents there, and Raila Odinga's convoy in the middle. And so, wangemwaga maji, and people don't move. And someone was telling me that some people were there even to protect Raila. Yes, one protester was telling me, bana, sisi tunaenda na baba. And the fact that they were around Raila, that was just enough for them. They were protecting baba. So they would then move, try to repulse the police, then people move. And they were there for probably the sake of Raila. The rebuttal after Monday protest has been a little bit shocking, and that's why I'm saying I'm seeing tired tricks in what exactly they are doing. There are two things. They've asked two questions. Number one, or there are two reactions that I've seen. One is a question asking Raila that, and I don't think they're asking Raila, they're asking the masses to interrogate. Is mass action going to lower the cost of living? Is a question that even me yesterday said, and he said, yes, I agree with them that it's not going to lower immediately. But then it can push the system to work and reroute their policy. And on that ground, people can get some reprieve. It has a potential. It's not like if you come from Raila, then you go home and do it. That's the simplistic understanding. But again, we are in an environment where people are a little bit informed. But then it's true that protest cannot lower. But then why don't you do what can lower? Number one, you are actually acknowledging that is the problem. But why don't you lower if you realize that protest cannot, and Raila is doing it wrongly? So the state has majority in the National Assembly. They sit in cabinet, they make cabinet decisions, everything. Why don't you do that right thing that the opposition is not doing that can lower the cost of living? Me, I am informed. I'm a little bit convinced. I don't think it's rocket science to lower the cost of two things. The cost of energy and probably the cost of hunger. I don't think it's rocket science. The one thing that we once said, we want to deal with the cartels, when finish cartels, then the whole thing goes on. We just need that intention back. In fact, President Ruto, go after this people you call cartels. And you have the capacity. The Bible is already down. It's just about opening the verses. You've put the Bible down. You have the sword. Rain on those cartels. After raining on those cartels, make sure that subsidy can work. Within 1 week, the unga that you promised that was going to be at 100 can be in the shelves. I've always believed, and I know someone has said, I can tell you, it's not going down naturally. I know someone is saying, Kevin, you once said that it can't go down. I'm saying it won't. I said it can't go down because there is no intention. That is not part of the plan. If it is in the plan, it can go down. How much are we spending on recurrent? How much are we spending on some dams that we've been talking about? I'm not seeing them. You can stop everything and fix this first. After the nation is fed, we look at the other things. 2, the other rebuttal by UDA is defending the state machinery while blaming destructions of property on Raila Odinga. And that's why I want to tell you, those two strategies are tired tricks, because there is something you are dodging. And what you are dodging is the cost of living. I said, kama kuna kitu Raila simamie, ashikilie hapo niyo cost of living. Hapo tu. In fact, forget about the server stories. Just drop the server stories. Shikilia hapo. I want to say that reaction, those are dirty tricks because you are pushing the state to be seen as an enemy of the people. People are talking about unga, and I can give you a challenge. Just check those who have Twitter pages. Check Twitter posts of different leaders who are talking about andamanos, especially those ones that have many followers, and look at the replies. Unaangalia hapo kwa replies, someone just saying unga ishuke, unga ishuke, unga ishuke. That's what people are talking about. So when the conversation seems to be, and that's what is the conversation seems to be changing, and by the fact that people didn't go to Statehouse, it's a very good blessing in disguise, and I'll tell you why. So the fact that people didn't go to Statehouse is very good because it pushes the stolen victory, claiming stolen victory to the periphery, but then leaves the Kenyan with one thing: the cost of living. So when people are talking about the price of unga, but then the same people are saying you rained a lot of power on us, then you tend to be against us. You're not talking to what the masses are talking about. Let me tell you, and let me say it as it is. The person who voted for William Ruto or voted for Raila Odinga, if there is a pinch in the population, all of us are feeling it. All of us are feeling it. Take it to bank. And those who are now remaining with William Ruto are remaining with him because of political affiliation. Because of political affiliation or individual or personal fortunes. Two things. I'm UDA. I'm UDA, sisi ni hustler. That's group. But the group that have sat back and said, wait, mambo iko sawa kweli. Two is I think people, they are dodging the cost of living because it's not going to be addressed. And one of the reasons why it can't be addressed is because of the political wing. I can tell you, Ruto do not want to, and the UDA team do not want to do anything that Raila is saying, not because that thing is bad, or not that thing is not the right thing, but because it will give Raila some political mileage. Because everything being done is done in the context of 2027. Raila is still, and Raila, if Raila remains active, he will have a voice in the next election. So people are doing everything in terms of the next election. How I wish they will do it. They say, okay, fine, he pushed that, but we did it. So that it will still help you to even win some, and say, because he has done it, there is no need of changing the guard. You don't change a winning team. A wrong card, because we are playing political cards with people's lives. Playing total political cards. And I don't know, the hunt on Raila and Uhuru, for me, they look at just for public consumption. And for media coverage, because we've sent invite to journalists and they're there. We've met and we want to get some relevance. In fact, we want that press briefing to have a voice. I can tell you, some of these statements impress us. And the communications, the fact that journalists are now have now gone to the political offices, they know very well that the media houses are dry and they're looking for news. So you can have a very long statement, but for your press briefing to get its way to the mainstream, to get its way to the mainstream media, you need to inject some very sensational things like, I want to arrest Raila, arrest Uhuru, do that. While you have the resources, you are the state power, why don't you yourself, instead of telling the public? By then I'm wondering, who is Malala and Cecilia Merida telling to go and arrest Raila? See themselves, they arrest us. It's the press briefing. I think the people that are at the height of communications at UDA are communicating like they're in the opposition. They are ordering. So who are they ordering? Themselves, they're the ones who are in power. I don't know. It's look at their presser. Listen to that presser, and you really get interesting insights into what I'm talking about. You wonder, Kama wanaambia watu we are calling for the arrest of Uhuru and Raila. So if they are calling, who is going to, are they telling the public to arrest Uhuru and Raila? Or the opposition to arrest Uhuru and Raila? Or judiciary? Or who is to arrest? Because if the arrest is to be done, they are the ones to. Let's move on.